What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 51 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside my co-host, Dev.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going, Dev?
Doing good.
We're back from our long break where it was Christmas, and then I was sick, and then you got sick, and then we both were sick because of the Eagles, and now here we are. From our month-long break, we're back. What's going on, everybody? A lot of stuff happened in the past month, but I think the last week has been very eventful. Originally this was going to be a very kind of recap show, kind of talk about the last month in general, but very quickly in the past few days cut a lot out. But so let's start off with our topic of the show. Palworld is suddenly the biggest game in the world.
Yeah, quickly.
So I mean, let's just start with Forrest hates the eagle sickness. It's the worst kind. It was way worse than the real sickness. Would you agree with that? It was the worst than the real sickness?
In a way, yeah.
Yeah. So Palworld, right? Comes out on Steam, Xbox, Game Pass. And we remember watching the showcases, Pokemon with guns and cracking jokes and everything. Let me just start off by saying, did you think that this game was going to be the massive hit that it is?
No, I did not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I should have. After it came out, I heard it was like Ark and those games are big. It's a big survival game, but with Pokemon and guns in a way,
Yeah. Made by AI, as Forrest is pointing out.
So
to get you up to speed, so how well is Palworld doing? Well, as of today, it's already sold 5 million copies in just 3 days. The 5 million units in 3 days number puts it in line with some of the fastest selling games in the last year, including PlayStation 5 exclusive Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Yesterday, Palworld became the second highest played paid Steam game ever, accumulating a player base peak of 1,291,967 players. At the time of the writing of this article from Inside Gamer, which was this morning, the game still has over 1 million concurrent players. As for where the game player count will go remains to be seen, but at the moment, it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. Now, I have not played this yet. Right, and so this game was not what I was expecting at all. Admittedly,
no, yeah,
it's a survival crafting, game, and admittedly, it's not really my cup of tea. It's not really my genre. But I mean, the game is such a smash hit that I don't know. I might try to dip into it at some point. I mean, obviously, it's on Game Pass. So is that Ninja? Is this Ninja's gameplay?
No,
it is not.
This gameplay is from Centec.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, a lot of the appeal, I think, does come down to, the Pokemon-esque characters and the design.
Yeah, I heard this. I mean, currently, this can change, but currently on Xbox, it's missing features. And another thing is there's already mods out there. There's already a Pokemon mod
I
that
saw
changed.
that today.
Yeah.
It's funny because walking around, I see the one... The mod has you're playing as Ash, and just walking around seeing real Pokemon in this world. It's hilarious. Forrest says you have to butcher knife the Pokemon to get mats.
Earlier in this gameplay, I saw him I guess before you even get a weapon, he's just beating a Pokemon or beating a Palmon with his fist. Just
yeah, it's insane.
You got to start the game off.
Yeah, it's insane what this game lets you do. I like. Did you know you can actually capture humans?
No, I didn't.
You can, and in the description, it's this is considered this is not considered humane. And then you can sell the humans, where you sell the pals.
That's
and
crazy.
Someone was like, "Is this slavery?" You're capturing humans and you're selling them.
Yeah.
It's okay, interesting. So Palworld was such a huge smash hit, came out of nowhere, that it also had some server issues over the weekend. In the 2 days since Palworld had been released, it was taking the world by storm, to the point where emergency meetings were held with Epic Games, in response to the overwhelming server overloads.
Yeah, it kept crashing because so many people were playing it.
Yeah. So over the weekend they had to have those meetings with Epic Games.
That's a good issue to have.
For sure. Epic Games actually did end up putting out a statement saying that Palworld hit a pre-configured limit on the back end, and that the issue had been resolved since, which it has been. The game's definitely been working better for people. Obviously, there's still
it's still new. It's
in early access technically. Yeah. It's not even full release.
Oh, I actually didn't know that. I thought it was a full release.
Yeah, no, it's early access technically. But so something that I thought was an interesting stance, right? And I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it too. Is a lot of Pokemon fans are very upset.
Really?
Yes. So
I'll let you go first, but I've heard the opposite. That's why I was surprised.
So I mean, I'll just get into it first. There's a lot of controversies. Let's see. Sorry, let me look this up. Palworld is embroiled in AI and Pokemon plagiarism controversies. The following comes from VGC. Palworld by Japanese studio Pocket Pair released into early access on PC and Xbox on Friday, immediately becoming a breakout success. The huge launch exposure inevitably reignited discourse that has followed Palworld since its announcement around its character design's apparent similarities to Pokemon. Although the gameplay of Palworld is closer to survival games like Ark and Rust than Game Freak's Pokemon series, many social media users have noted the obvious influences its character designs have taken from the Nintendo series. Following the release on Friday, some Twitter users collated perceived similarities between Palworld's pals and Pokemon. It's not even subtle about its ripoffs. How much else has it stolen, wrote one user. Another added, I want to like Palworld, but I don't know if I can support running existing Pokemon through a fuser and passing them off as new IP. And then, if you go out there on the internet, you can find there's a lot of images. I mean, we were making jokes about the one where you were like, oh, that's which one was it? Piplup and Meowth.
Yeah, Pink Meowth.
It's
even beforehand. We were watching trailers, and the entire time we were distracted because they just look like.
Yeah, you would think because some of them are so close. The one that really drives me crazy is the one that looks like Meganium, the Johto grass starter.
Okay.
I mean, it looks a little different, but like its face looks exactly the same. Like I would swear it's a mega evolution of like Meganium or something.
Yeah, it's no secret that it's heavily inspired or taking or stealing, whatever you want to call it, from Pokemon. Like that's not a secret. It's very obvious.
So along with accusations of plagiarism, the situation is further muddled in the eyes of some by Pocket Pair's historical relationship with generative AI tools. Artist Zaytiri noted on Twitter that one of its previous titles was AI Art Imposter, a game which literally utilizes an AI image generator as its core gameplay mechanic. The user also highlighted multiple historical Twitter posts by Pocket Pair's CEO Takuro Mizobi, in which he appeared to praise the potential of AI image generators for content creation. The usage of generative AI is a significant pressure point in many creative industries, including video games, with tools such as Midjourney being criticized by some who perceive them as replacing professional artists and using their work without permission for their training set. Earlier this month, an ongoing lawsuit against Midjourney, Stability AI, and DeviantArt listed thousands of artists' names, and plaintiffs allege to have had their artwork scraped to train the AI. So, Dev, I kind of wanted to, for starters, get your thoughts on this. So, obviously, we know that you are much more accepting of AI as a tool in video game development. Does the AI usage necessarily bother you in this game? If Palworld's developers, maybe they didn't plagiarize, and I think that this is an interesting discussion point that actually Ty and I were talking about yesterday on his show, where do you think that is it plagiarism? Is it AI? And can you blame it the AI for plagiarism?
No.
Kind of a two-part question there.
I would say, I guess it's up to the courts to decide if it's plagiarism. We can see the similarities. I mean, everyone can see the similarities, but I don't know what fair use is. I don't know if if they change enough of it, if that's actually plagiarism. So I'll leave that up to the court to decide because it's going to be a lawsuit. I think it's coming. It's inevitable.
Yeah. So
especially with how big this game is.
Yeah. So Ty and I were talking about it, and I think it's going to be a really interesting precedent to see in kind of the future of AI.
I don't think so, because
this game may end up being historic, but not even just for its impact as a game, but for its impact as AI. And I'm not even saying in a negative or a positive way, but if the Pokemon company chooses to take legal action and sue, you know, where's the line in like how much of it is like, because if the developers went on to an AI generator and they put in these prompts to make these creatures, and these creatures just happen to look like Pokemon.
No, that's the thing, though.
Is that plagiarism?
You have to be very specific when you're using AI. If you type in cartoon chicken, you're gonna get 30 different results for a cartoon chicken. These Pokemon these Palmon look way too close to Pokemon. They're definitely
pals. They're just pals.
These pals. They're like way too close to Pokemon. They're definitely influencing the AI with Pokemon.
Okay.
I think that's obvious.
Okay.
That would be plagiarism, yes.
Okay. Do you think it's worth Pokemon's time to pursue a lawsuit? It's just your opinion, obviously.
If I was the Pokemon. If I was Nintendo and I was the Pokemon company, I would absolutely sue. I think I have to.
You think you have a case?
I mean, they've gone after smaller fan-made stuff that's not making money.
That's true.
This is making so much money. I mean, I think you have a case. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing that's so jarring, obviously, is that this is not a Pokemon ripoff, like some people are saying it is.
Oh, no.
Like, yes, the monsters have questionable designs that would
gameplay-wise, this is nothing like Pokemon.
No, this is not Pokemon at all.
Yeah. This is probably a game that a lot of people who play Pokemon wanted.
Right.
But no, it doesn't play like Pokemon at all.
Right. Well, so moving on, Palworld devs have come out and said that they have received death threats over the weekend. Amid the explosive launch of Palworld, its developers have taken to social media to say they have received death threats. Last week, IGN reported on how Palworld, aka Pokemon with Guns, had sparked a vicious debate online about whether it had ripped off Nintendo's famous franchise. Some Pokemon fans say Palworld's pals are too similar to Pokemon, with a number of social media posts that placed pals next to Pokemon going viral. Palworld developer Pocket Pair has insisted Palworld is more akin to survival crafting games such as Ark, Survival Evolved, and Valheim than Pokemon, but that hasn't stopped people from continuing to hit out the game. Pocket Pair community manager Bucky, who has been active on Twitter and Palworld's Discord, posted to say that they received death threats since the game went live on January 19th. Frantically working through all my DMs and emails, I promise, Bucky said. However, you'll excuse me if I skip over the death threats. Threats to the community and massively outlandish claims. If you're capable of writing like an actual human being, though, I'll reply as soon as possible. Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobi also tweeted out to say he received death threats and slanderous comments. Currently, we have been receiving slanderous comments against our artists, and we are seeing tweets that appear to be death threats, Mizobi said. I have received a variety of opinions regarding Palworld, but all productions related to Palworld are supervised by multiple people, including myself, and I am responsible for the production. I would appreciate it if you would refrain from slandering the artists involved in Palworld. So, something else that this article doesn't put out is that Bucky, the community manager, also went on to... There was like a PlayStation-centric Twitter account saying that the death threats were coming from, like... I forget exactly what it was. Basically, he was implying that the death threats were coming based off console wars, and Bucky himself responded to the tweet saying, like, none of the death threats or any of the bad comments we're receiving are based off of Xbox, PlayStation, or PC users. And it was very interesting. Like, his tweet was very interesting because it basically was like, yeah, no, none of this hate we're getting from is PlayStation, Xbox, or PC users. He left out Nintendo users.
Yeah.
So you got to assume, unfortunately, that
big Pokemon fans are upset about this
death
game.
Threats. First of all, death threats are fucking gross.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. If
threats in general, like.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, but
yeah.
Yes, correct. Threats in general, it's terrible. Like,
if you don't like it, don't play the game.
Yeah, it paints our industry, it paints our hobby in such a bad light, and it's honestly so embarrassing, to act that way. Grow up, even if you're not an adult. Grow up. No, it's just terrible. There's nothing in gaming that warrants threatening someone else. Like, video games are awesome. Video games are an art form, and they're so much fun and so passionate about them. But it's just like, man, like, you don't threaten people. Like, you can be upset about it. You can have opinions about it. Don't threaten people. Just terrible. So, to kind of wrap up with Palworld, an interesting thought that I saw from Jez Corden at Windows Central was that, if anything, Palworld is... It's one of the most interesting things that he took away from Palworld and its success is the Pokemon fan base, and there is an audience / market for Pokemon to really kind of up their game, and
this might be it.
And like, yeah, it's like that's what this for me, that, and I agree with the take. I think it's a great take. Is that, like, there is as a Pokemon fan myself, like, I'm just so I'm starving for great Pokemon content in my games, and I think Pokemon Company has been largely lazy.
Yeah.
Even when I've enjoyed their work. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Pokemon's a world that I want to get lost in.
I just had to look up the name of it because I didn't remember. But do you remember Temtem?
I remember it, yes.
When that was, coming out, we kept comparing it to Pokemon, and, like, we were excited that, hey, somebody's taking the Pokemon formula and doing something different with it. Maybe it'll go somewhere. I haven't heard anything from Temtem or anything about that, but this game seems like it could be the game that maybe pushes Nintendo to do something better. I don't know.
Yeah, and so the actual tweet, just because I wanted to read it, is Palworld really showcases how much hunger there is for Pokemon and Game Freak to up their game.
Absolutely.
And I agree. I just think that Pokemon Company...
Even with Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, those games are fun, but they were ugly. They were ugly for a game for the biggest franchise in the world.
Pokemon Legends Arceus, phenomenal game.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. They're great.
Phenomenal game.
Yeah, both games are great.
Anyone who thinks so is wrong. They're just wrong.
But it's just like those games are ugly for the biggest companies in the world. You know what I mean?
It's the biggest IP in gaming, if not, like, it's like Mickey Mouse, Pokemon.
Yeah, and
is there any IP bigger than Pokemon than Mickey Mouse?
And it's just people they have no competition. They have no one to stop them.
Yeah,
they can put out half-baked games and people will buy them because that's the only time you get your Pokemon. So
I mean, Forrest says, why would Nintendo try when they could just sue?
Too.
Well, as Deborah has said, as fans, we cannot complain. We cannot want better.
I didn't say that.
We just have to accept what we're given.
If your company's putting out 9s and 10s all the time, stop complaining.
We just have to accept what we're given.
Exactly.
Pokemon reviews pretty highly.
No, they have their faults, though. They have their faults.
Pokemon reviews very highly.
They have their faults. Every Pokemon game. Too much water. Like, they have their faults. Come on. They're not perfect.
You realize you just used the too much water review as a crux for your argument?
Yeah.
You know you messed up.
I mean, you liked Arceus, but, like, a lot of people didn't.
Loved Arceus.
It was an ugly game. You can't deny
it. Arceus is not... I don't love it for its graphics. I love it for
the gameplay, yeah.
For the fact that they went and they did something different in the Pokemon universe, which is what I want to see from Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they went out and they told a different story. They did something different. They expanded on the lore of the world.
And now maybe they'll make a survival game.
I'd be down. I want a Pokemon MMO still. That's what I want.
Yeah. This is pretty close.
Like,
you can play with how many people, you told me?
Yeah, but I want, like, actual Pokemon in MMO form. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want just...
You don't want pals?
I don't want pals, but I also don't want a survival crafting game. Like,
I agree with that.
I want, like, a world where you go to gyms and you can go into caves and capture Pokemon and battle Pokemon and trade Pokemon. And
there's a lot of fan-made ones if you can still find them. If Nintendo didn't get to them yet.
That's the problem. They take most of them down.
Yeah.
So that's Palworld. Let's move on to our next topic of discussion. The Xbox Developer Direct happened last Thursday. And I know Dev is about to put it up on screen. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this Developer Direct. So it was about an hour long, 48 minutes, 50 minutes, I think. I guess, so overall, we'll finish with the overall. Let's talk about Avowed. So you watched this Direct. We actually haven't talked at all about this Direct yet.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Avowed? Like, talk to me. Like, what you're watching it? Like, how did you feel about Avowed?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It felt more like the game that I want from Bethesda, outside of Starfield. It was like, that's the game. That's the first. That style of game was the first kind of game with Skyrim that I played from Bethesda. And, like, I've played other ones, but that's the Bethesda game. When I think of a good Bethesda game, and this game, although it's a different studio, Obsidian, they don't really miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really like them as a studio. It looks good. It's a very pretty game. Very colorful.
Yeah, I think Obsidian, when you look at Xbox's not the Bethesda acquisition or the Activision acquisition, I think when you look at like the studio acquisitions,
Bethesda has been killing it for
Obsidian.
Yeah, Obsidian. Yeah,
Obsidian has been just killing it. Like I think they've been putting out great game after great game, and I'm stoked to play Avowed. I think Avowed looks stellar.
And it sounds like from them talking about it, they took the combat from Skyrim and those kind of games, and they kind of upped it. And I feel like maybe after this, there's nowhere else to go. Like, but
yeah, I mean, my thoughts are number one, the art style looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think this game just looks beautiful. I sent you the cover art, and I was like, whoever made this is
yeah, it's gorgeous
beautiful.
cover art. Yeah,
beautiful cover art. The gameplay looks fascinating. I'm really into it. I'm digging the choice and the level of choice that they're trying to give players. Whether they're saying like, hey, you can use a sword and a gun, or a sword and magic,
and
or
now
like
you can
a gun
just
and
hot
magic.
switch really quick.
Yeah,
like you can have. Yeah.
I'm very excited for Avowed. The gameplay looks great. The story looks great. Kind of like you said, it just looks like a great RPG. Forrest thinks Avowed looks good, so that's nice. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. Obviously, my biggest thing going into it after watching the direct was a question. I still have some questions about the scale of the game. Like how big is this game going to be? They did kind of come out and say that it isn't going to be like an Elder Scrolls length game, which not that I need it to be that. But so I am like, that's the one thing I was kind of looking at, and I was like, okay. But
I think this is the year you play Skyrim. I think you just put 60 hours in and you play Skyrim.
I'm so intimidating.
I think
I don't have time. When do I have time to do that?
I don't know. Stop playing a Zelda game that you've played 10 times. I think you should play
Final Fantasy 16 right now.
And then after?
Zelda. No,
probably.
Truth be told, I'm gonna have to get ready for it's actually gonna be a really Final Fantasy heavy few months, because I'm playing 16, and then I want to play the Crisis Core remake of Final Fantasy 7 before Rebirth comes out next month.
Okay.
So it's gonna be like Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So
at least before Avowed, I think you should play Skyrim.
Then I'm gonna play Zelda after Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Which Zelda are you on?
Well, I did Wind Waker. I think next up is Minish Cap. Yeah, but that's not a long one. That shouldn't be too bad. So yeah, Avowed looks great. We didn't get a solid release date for it. We did get Ty's here. What's up, Ty?
Hey, Ty.
We got I believe it was
2024, right?
It was winter 2024,
okay.
or like later this year 2024.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe like probably Q3, Q4. Next up, we saw Hellblade. I think Hellblade 2 was the next one on the direct shown. Man, and I had a really fun time being on Ty's show yesterday. I was talking to Ken, and I'm so excited for Hellblade 2. I said it yesterday on his show, and I want to kind of, reverberate that again, that Forrest says Outer Worlds length would be dope. I think that's what they're actually going for. I think that's actually exactly the length that they're going for with Avowed. But for Hellblade 2, I'm just so psyched for this game. Like the experience of it, like I can't wait to just put a headset on and just play it. Like
I agree.
The team has Microsoft money behind it, and you can tell they've really upped their game.
It almost feels like it's an entirely different game from the first one. Like the way they talked about it, some of the combat stuff they showed, like it felt like, oh, they had a hit with the first game, and now they're just gonna like triple down on everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much different it's going to be necessarily. I mean, I know they did mention that the gameplay, the combat, they kind of revamped.
Yeah.
But I think that this game is going to, like you said, triple down on everything they've done. I think that it's going to be a lot of the audio design. The game looks gorgeous. Like, it looks amazing. It's funny because I'm actually talking to my father-in-law who sells, TV. He's an appliance salesman. And I might get a new TV before Hellblade 2, just to make sure I'm playing on the best TV I can when I play Hellblade. I mean other games too, but Hellblade's the one where it's like, man, I really want to experience this on my Series X as best it can be. So who knows? You'll find out about that if I get a new TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited for Hellblade. Years in the making. Just it's awesome to see Xbox kind of let Ninja Theory go and make this game, and hey man, do your creative vision, take as long as you need with it. Now we did get a release date for this.
Yeah.
May 21st.
Sooner than I thought.
A day before Jackie's birthday. May 21st. So I'm definitely going to be playing that on May 21st. I don't know about the 22nd, but definitely the 21st.
Okay.
And the 23rd. But yeah, I know this game looks incredible. Some other details about the game, about Hellblade, is that it will be, outside of its Game Pass release, it will be digital only. Kind of lame. Releasing, costing $50. And a new blog about the game from the official Xbox Wire. Studio head Dom Matthews stated that the game would not be getting a physical release and would be slated for $49.99. He says Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 will be a game crafted from the heart, a game similar in length to the first Hellblade, with a focused narrative and sold digital only at a price of $49.99.
I'm seeing a different energy between this and Alan Wake. You're okay with this. You can't wait to play it.
It's coming to Game Pass.
Okay.
If you're going digital only, just go to Game Pass. No, I mean, I'm serious. Like, that's my kind of my stance on it, is that, like, no, I'm not paying $60 for a single digital game. But it'll be on Game Pass, which is a service that provides me with many games. So, yeah, that's kind of the difference there.
Okay.
And I also want to play Alan Wake 2. I mean, look, man, I gave out the Christmas list, and I had an Xbox gift card on the Christmas list. Nobody got me the Xbox gift card, so no Alan Wake. I'm serious. It was on the list. No one.
I should have bought you the code.
You should have. We'll buy it for my birthday then. Birthday's in a few months.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy it, but I'll absolutely play it if somebody wants to buy it for me. Although the game did not do well. Alan Wake 2 didn't do well in sales. Could it be due to a lack of physical?
I don't know.
Well,
the people who wanted to play it played
I'm going to say it is. Because it meets my narrative. Game underperformed and it didn't have physical releases. Well, there you go.
You're just connecting dots.
Connecting dots that connect. But no, Hellblade looks awesome. Looks amazing. Now I'm very excited to be playing it on May 21st. Next up, Deborah. I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but we have to talk about it. So, during the Direct, we get a mystery surprise appearance, and it's Square Enix. And they show off Visions of Mana. Now, Deborah, I know that this is really hard for you.
I don't know why you think that.
Well, because obviously it's Xbox.
It's a very pretty Japanese game.
It's Xbox making a concerted effort to have their Japanese developer / publisher.
Yeah, they're trying to get
on their Direct.
Yeah.
Showing that they understand that gamers on Xbox platforms want Japanese developed games.
Not want, more like need.
Need and want, yeah, no, definitely. I definitely agree with need, but I'm sure they also would like these games as well.
I mean, sure, yeah.
So yeah, I know it's very hard for you to accept, and I know that you've gone on record saying that Xbox doesn't need Japanese games. That Xbox fans don't want to play Japanese games.
That's not what I said.
That's clearly not the case, because they
don't play Japanese games because they're all on PlayStation.
They gave them real high quality time here to talk about Visions of Mana, which I'm very excited about.
It is a pretty game.
Ty says, would you be happy if the Developer Direct started featuring third-party games? I thought this Direct was kind of where I'd want to see it, where it's like, I want it to mostly be your first-party games, but getting one third-party game in there, I think makes a lot of sense.
I do think this is a big deal for them, too.
I agree. No, all jokes aside, I think that it was such a big get for them to get Square Enix to show up on this Developer Direct. We talk about it. Farsight, y'all see those Pokemon behind them.
Those are pals.
No, those are not pals. They're Digimon. No, they're not Digimon. But anyways, I just think that, again, I'm a big Nintendo gang. Get suing Xbox now, too. Man, I think it's, again, I'm a big perception guy, and I think that perception-wise, this was a really awesome get by them to get Square Enix in here, hyping up one of their big releases this year, because, like, for them, Visions of Mana, it's like after Final Fantasy and what's the other one?
Kingdom Hearts.
No, not Kingdom Hearts. I mean, like games that are like still kind of coming out.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm blanking on the other one, but my point is, this is a pretty big release for Square Enix. The Mana series has a lot of legacy behind it, and so for it to kind of get a top billing at an Xbox showcase, we didn't see this at a PlayStation showcase. Like, this was an Xbox centric thing. You know, the developer that's on screen right now in the B-roll was legitimately like, hey, this is like the first Mana game coming to Xbox, and like this is a very big deal for them. Dragon Quest, thank you, Ty.
Quest, yeah.
Yes, that's what it was. Plus like other games like Octopath Traveler, you know, coming to Xbox this year.
I think if it's a big deal like this, you can go ahead and have a third party.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But so I thought it was big, and so here's a little bit of news that I didn't verify. So, apparently, this is coming to Game Pass day one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, actually.
The source given was Xbox's English website. I did not click it to make sure, but it was from Idle Sloth, who is a very reliable Xbox news aggregator. So, we'll see. But if it's coming to Game Pass, that's a big get for them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think this year...
Didn't they recently put the older games, the
Mana games?
Yeah, the older Mana games on Game Pass? I thought they did.
They might have. It's possible. Okay. But I think that this year, while we are, like... I think we're going to look back on this year for Xbox as a big year, not just because of their first-party support, which is definitely hitting this year, but I think you're seeing a lot of Square Enix support this year, and I think that that's really cool. I mean, obviously, we're going to get Octopath 2 this year. We're going to get Mana this year. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and make a prediction. I bet we get something else from Final Fantasy this year for Xbox.
Okay.
Whether it be 16 or 7 Remake. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. This is just a prediction, but it really seems like Square Enix is kind of getting on board with the Xbox partnership, which is great for them. Forrest says Nintendo's going to sue him for wearing leather. Bayonetta wears leather. Technically, Platinum owns Bayonetta. Nintendo just pays for Bayonetta, but I get your point. All right, next up, after Visions of Mana, Ara History Untold, a game that is for the PC crowd, coming to PC Game Pass. Not Xbox consoles, but it is coming to the Xbox ecosystem via PC Game Pass. Ty said it would be great to see Final Fantasy 16 for sure. I would rather see 7 Remake, Ty. That's just me, though. So Ara, right? So, you know, coming from Oxide Games, which, you know, I have Game Pass Ultimate, so I do have PC Game Pass available. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of waiting for that, like, there's a lot of, like, legacy content on the PC Game Pass that I want to dive into, like Age of Empires. But, like, I am still kind of, like, looking for, like, a really good strategy game to kind of, like, dive in. I left this very impressed with this game.
This seems like a game where if you get into it, this is, like,
it's
100 hours.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's all over.
But it looks in a good way, though. Like, it looks fun.
Yeah, definitely. Something that I thought was really cool about this game was how they're like, hey, like, to win, they have this new, it's called the Prestige system. And it's like, it's not about conquering the other nations via, like, combat. Like, it's all about getting enough points to win that game. And those points can be obtained through, like, technological advancements or, like, art creation or exploration or, like, there's a whole, I wish I had the timestamp for you so you could go to the menu, but there's, like, 9 or 10, if I recall, things that, like, you could focus on. Like, you don't have to fight. You could just be like, hey, I want to do this, and this is how I want to play this game.
I like that everyone takes their turn at the same time.
Yeah.
So that you have to strategize as you're playing. It's not just reacting to someone. It's more like, this was my plan and it failed, or this is my plan and it backfired. I like that.
Yeah. So, Ara looks really fun.
I probably won't play it, just to be fair. Like, it's
oh, for sure. It's definitely an uphill battle for it because I'm not a PC gamer. I am going to play the games that I want to play more on my console. Or consoles, excuse me. But I will give them credit. I think this game looks really cool.
Yeah.
And if I were to play a game this year on my PC, I think this might be the one that could do it. Like, even just looking at them working on the game, the art design, just it
could
looks
just be
extremely
that
impressive.
This could just be the game that you play when you're not, like, down here. Like, this could be your half an hour before bed game on your laptop or something like that. You know,
yeah. So I mean, we'll see. But yeah, so this game, I don't think this game got a release date either. I should have wrote this stuff down. The only one I knew, Hellblade's the only date that we got a solid release date.
I could skip to the end.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So yeah, Ara looks good. Looking forward to it. Let's see.
Also, another thing I want to say is this studio looks like it's very
Oxide.
Oxide looks like it's very comfortable to work at.
So that was
fall 2024.
Fall. So this is something that's really funny that you mentioned this. There was some speculation going on. Do you think Oxide, so the speculation is Oxide is was acquired by Xbox, and we just don't know it yet. A lot of the messaging about the developer direct, it was like a look at the Square Enix game and what our studios are working on, and like they seem very like integrated and like you know how like they're very like in the studio for the Xbox developer direct. I do wonder if Xbox went out and purchased another developer in Oxide that we just didn't know about.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it would be cool. I mean these guys definitely seem like they know what they're doing. It looks pretty good. And Avowed, by the way, was fall 2024.
I think Oxide is one you don't have to buy if you're. I'm thinking if you're Microsoft. I mean, yeah, if it's on Game Pass.
Oh, the developer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you don't have to buy Oxide simply because like their games are definitely PC centered, and so I feel like that's already in your market. That's already in your, That's but true. It's just like Oxide just looked like a very comfortable place to work. The people look nice.
They did, yeah. It did look like a pretty happy place. All developers are happy.
Yeah. It was just something I noticed.
So I'm really curious to get your take on this next game. So last, but definitely not least at this showcase, we got the reveal for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So Dev, I'm going to let you kind of go first here because I'm really curious to know what your thoughts are. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle being developed by Machine Games. Take it away.
It looked fun. It's something that I love puzzle games.
Yeah. And
the way they were talking about just the puzzles alone, where like some of them are hidden, some of them are obvious, some of them are not. It was like I'm already intrigued. Mm-hmm. The whip combat stuff looked really cool. I was a little taken aback by the first person aspect of it. They did talk about it later on. It's like not everything's first person. You will get to see Indy as he's climbing and like
third person for the cinematics and the traversal of the world. Yeah,
it did seem like it worked, which I guess that's fine. Just the whip combat in general just looked fun. It was different. And I haven't seen first-person whip combat in a game.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, it looked good. I was surprised that you play as Harrison Ford Indy.
I was so happy that they got his likeness.
Okay, I think I didn't care either way, but I was really surprised that you played as Harrison Ford Indy. I thought it was going to be, like what they did for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
So
for me, I think that the most important thing for Indiana Jones for this game was you have to capture the feeling of what it means to be Indiana Jones. To like when you sit down and you watch an Indiana Jones movie, like what does it feel like? Do you get the feeling of it right? And
we talked about that with the last movie where people were saying it didn't hold the magic. It didn't feel like an Indiana Jones movie.
So I would say that this game, for me, 1,000,000% does that. Forrest wants to play as Todd Howard. As a fan of the original trilogy of Indiana Jones, I liked the Crystal Skull. I thought it was
alright.
It was alright, yeah.
I think it tied up some loose ends that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I love the first three. Which this game is canon, takes place between Raiders and Temple of Doom.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. That was really awesome. And it's just like, man, it's just some people were upset about it being first person. And like for me, like this is the kind of game that Machine Games make. So like let them cook and let them make the game that they make.
I agree with that. They
make Wolfenstein, and Wolfenstein's freaking incredible.
I agree with that 100%.
So like they wanted to make this game a first person. That's their vision, and you know what? Like
they found a middle ground so where you could see him in cinematics and stuff like that, and
you can see it in the B-roll right now. You know, you see Indiana Jones, you see Harrison Ford's face. You're gonna see him in the cutscenes. Like they say that certain set pieces and when you're traversing the world, there'll be times where they pull the camera back and you see Indiana. And I think that's great. And it's just like,
to me, solving puzzles in first person is always fun for me. Like
I agree with that, but again, like I just think this game is gonna really go out of its way and really kind of nail that Indiana Jones feeling, where it's like, hey, you're in this world where like you're fighting Nazis, you're killing Nazis, you're using the whip, and the whip looks good. You're going to get into fistfights. You're going to pull out a revolver sometimes. You're going to solve puzzles. You're going to traverse the world. You're going to have different ways to get through things. They say during the direct that it's like, hey, on any given level, like you could just go in there and just beat the crap out of all the Nazis and like get through the level. Or you could take a different approach where it's like maybe it's stealth or figuring out a way around or something like that. And they also go on to say that the more deeper you look for secrets, the more you're going to find. Like they encourage you to like look through this world.
That's me.
Take your time, explore, find things, find treasure. And if
the
that's
part
not
that's playing
Indiana
right now
Jones,
is like he just swung from a whip and it was third person, and when he lands, he's back in first person, and he's just like
like, and again, like this trailer and watching this gameplay, like this is Indiana Jones. Like this is not like a first person game. This is not Wolfenstein with an Indiana Jones DLC skin. Like this legitimately, when I'm watching this gameplay that we're watching right now on your screen, like this is freaking Indiana Jones. Yeah. Like look at that. Oh my god, he just jumps from one plane to the other. Like this is crazy. So I'm super excited for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
And like you said, I think if it was any other studio that wasn't Machine Games, I'd probably be more concerned about the first person part. But this is what they do. This is their bread and butter. And the game so far feels like an Indiana Jones game.
I think something else, and I saw this discourse a little bit online, and I definitely think that it's got some validity to it, where it's like you can look at like let's say theoretically, okay, they go and they make a third person game. I think at that point, right off from the get, you're fighting an uphill battle there because you got Uncharted, you got Tomb Raider. People are going to be making all these comparisons. I think by just making your own game and doing it a certain with your own way, your own vision, like I don't know. I just think that like I love this series. Like you have how expensive that vase is. Yeah. I'm so excited, and so we get this. I believe it was winter. Or holiday. It was winter 2024, I think. So it's coming this year, and I'm stoked for it. Like I'm like,
and I don't know who the voice actor is, but he definitely nails it. Okay, it's Troy Baker. He kills it.
Yeah, Troy Baker definitely kind of sounds like him too. So it's great job by Troy there. So yeah, that's Indiana Jones. It's a game. It's funny because I was on like I said, I was on Ty's show yesterday, and he asked us, Ken and I, he asked us to do. He laid out all of Xbox exclusives coming out this year and all PlayStation's exclusives coming out this year, and he's like, "What's the game that you're number one?" For me, it's Indiana Jones. Okay. As much as I'm looking forward to Avowed and to Hellblade and Final Fantasy Rebirth, like, I'm dying to play this. Like, I just want to get into this world and I want to be Indiana Jones, and I'm super excited for it. There was a lot of talk about the game. Like people were concerned whether the IP carried this as much weight as it did, but it's been very highly searched. Like people are like looking into this game. People are interested in this game. It definitely seems like the game's.
I think the IP does. I mean, anyone who likes Uncharted and Tomb Raider, they're kind of built off of Indiana Jones. This is kind of like the grandfather to those games, in terms of like the feel and the characters and like the story and stuff like that. So I think absolutely it does.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much covers up the Xbox Developers Direct. What are your overall thoughts about the showcase?
It was good. It was simple. It was clean. It was fast. Mm-hmm. It's kind of everything I want from a Direct, from a smaller Direct style. You know what I mean? Like, here's what some of our more personal studios are doing. Mm-hmm. The end. You know.
I thought it was a great Direct, great show. I think that. You couple this with your major showcase that you do in June. Let that June showcase be like, hey, here's like our surprises, our reveals,
more third party stuff, more
like trailer announcement. Whereas like
this is more of a deep dive.
This is more like, hey, here's what 2024 looks like for Xbox. And I think that if you are an Xbox gamer, like you have to be excited about this year. Like this is the year. Like last year, Redfall falls short, and Starfield. Divisive. I love Starfield. My Starfield hoodie's on the way. It's going to be coming this week. I'm excited. I don't know what's up with Bethesda's store. Bethesda's store needs to be a little bit better. I ordered this. It was on sale like 3 weeks ago. And like half off, like a New Year's sale. And I was like, oh, cool. I bought it. It's like, oh, it'll ship any day now, right? Right? 3 weeks later, it finally ships. But maybe it's just because it's hot. I don't know. Forrest says they don't advertise these well. I had no idea. That's funny because I mean I knew about it 3 weeks out. Like I thought they advertised it well. Do you think they didn't? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Well, Xbox on their official channel.
The developer direct or this game in general? I don't think
the developer direct.
Yeah, I don't. No, it was. I think this was more of a quiet drop. I don't think this was advertised very well. The direct itself.
I mean, I don't think.
You follow this thing, so it's probably like all over your feed. I think.
Well, my follow up to that would be I just think the games media doesn't cover Xbox very well. That's my opinion on it.
But it's up to Microsoft and Xbox to push this out. You know what I mean?
Xbox. That's up to them. They put on their official channels like, "Hey, we're doing a developer direct," and then the news sites, some reported on it. I think everyone reported on it, but
yeah, I just don't.
At that point, like, it depends on the outlet you follow. Like, yeah, the IGNs of the world, they put out like an article about it, and then they didn't talk about it for 2 weeks.
Like, I was actually excited to watch it because I really liked last year's, and I forgot about it the day it came out. So it was like,
yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't really pushed out that well.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just from my perspective, I don't think they do a bad job with it, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, no, they definitely don't advertise it as much as they advertise like their big showcases.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think for what it is, it's a great thing that complements what they do throughout the year. I think the developer direct is great because you come in January and you're like, hey,
I do like that it's in January.
Here's what our year looks like.
Yeah, I do like that a lot.
Maybe there will be some more down the line. Obviously, maybe there'll be some Game Pass stuff that we haven't announced yet. Maybe there'll be a shadow drop of a smaller game, but like, here's what our year looks like.
Yeah, I do like
that. And at the end of the day, you're walking away from this, from this developer direct, and you saw gameplay, you saw a deeper dive into 3 games from first party that are coming out this year, of 4 if you count Oxide, and then you also got a third party which is a big get for them in Square Enix. And I just think it's a great show. I left feeling great about all the games that I saw. Well, let me rephrase that. I left feeling better than I did going into the direct about all the games I saw. Because obviously Avowed had a lot of question marks about how that game was going to look. I was very happy to see Avowed be as good as it was. I see that you're pulling up an extended gameplay. They actually put that out today, which I have not watched this
I was going to say I haven't.
Yeah, so this is even more gameplay that they're putting out for Avowed, which is really awesome. Is that going to show up on there? Or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna just the gameplay part.
Okay, yeah. So I haven't watched what you're about to put up yet. So, yeah, but Xbox did on their official podcast today. They did an extended Avowed look. Forrest says, "Is the June 1 Summer Games Fest, aka not E3, but it's E3?"
It should be, yeah.
Yes. But no, I mean, just I think Avowed, feel great about. Hellblade got the release date, so I feel great about that. Indiana Jones, blown away, feel great about that. For me, it's a great showcase, and especially if you look at what they do throughout the year. I mean, you do the January Developer Direct, which is like a deeper dive and like really kind of cementing, ironing out the plans for the year. You do your June showcase, which is like your big like reveals and announcements. You'll do the third-party partner showcase, which they started last year. They did that, I think, in like September. Okay. I thought that was really cool. And then you show up at like Jeff's Game E3 award thing and the Game Awards.
Yeah.
And then like there you go. And then like obviously you could do like little announcements here and there throughout the year. I think that's a great hype cycle / like
if you have the games
PR
to show.
cycle.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah. And these are I mean you of the games, so out of the 5 games, 3 of them I'm really excited for. And they're all going to be on Game Pass, and it's just like I can eat off of these 3 games. You know what I mean?
Which
Like
of the 3 games? I'm guessing
Indiana Jones, Avowed, and Hellblade. Yeah, so it's like
those are my 3 games.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, and then again, that's just the crazy thing about Game Pass is like, and like, there's been a lot of discussion in games, the past few weeks about like the validity and the sustainability of a subscription model, and it's just like, I don't know, man, but I'll say this is that like. Game Pass just continues to be.
I don't know how it's making money either, but as long as it is, that's all I care about.
That's my thing. Like as a customer, like as long as this Game Pass is around, like you should definitely utilize it. It's insane how great of a value it is. Like these 3 games alone, for what I think it's like 17 a year now, 18 a year now for Game Pass Ultimate, like that. Like these 3 games combined would be like what 70 each. So doing quick math, $210 a year for just those 3 games. Game Pass is like, let's just round it up and say 20 a year. That would be what, 240? So $30 more, but then you get all these other games. Forrest says, is Avowed exclusive? Yes, Avowed is from Obsidian. It's Xbox exclusive, but again, keep in mind all of their first party games are day and date with PC. So if you get like PC Game Pass,
which is probably the route I'm going to go for I don't know, currently.
So we actually have a really interesting little story coming up. In fact, it's our next story, so we'll get into kind of like ecosystems and stuff like that. But yeah, so Avowed is going to be exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. But I mean, however you play it, I mean, definitely just get on Game Pass and play these games. Like they're like Avowed and Hellblade and Indiana Jones. I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse. I know I am, but it's like, man, Game Pass is just it's insane. I always say it's like it's coming from the guy who buys his physical games, who will legitimately not buy a digital game because it's digital only. Like, and I'm sitting here saying like I'm sorry, but Game Pass is just it's that great. And yeah, so Ty said this on his show yesterday. For him, the Avowed gameplay just he says doesn't have that punch. The way he described it on his show yesterday was that it doesn't feel. It feels like like when you swing your sword, it doesn't feel like it has weight behind it.
Okay.
Was his gripe with the game.
It could just be a weapon thing. Like this is a one-handed sword we're watching right now.
Yeah, who knows? Like maybe there's like I don't know. I don't fully agree. But Ty says few amendments would make it. Yeah. So that's the Xbox Developer Direct. All around great show. Looking forward to the months ahead with Xbox. It was funny because I also said this to Ty yesterday, but now that the Xbox Direct is in like the rear view mirror, like, and we know what Xbox's 2024 looks like, now I'm just dying to see the Super Switch. Like that's the next domino for 2024, where it's like, okay.
Which you think you think that'll be March?
So I think we're gonna get a Direct in February, and I think that at the end of that Direct, they're gonna be like, hey, come back next month in March to see the Super Switch.
Okay.
That's what they're gonna call it. It's gonna be the Super Switch.
I don't think it will be, but I hope it will be.
It needs to be. It's such a perfect name.
Especially since a lot of people are saying it's not an iteration. It's not the Switch 2. This is a mini upgrade. They're sticking with the Switch.
But that's why you do the Super Switch. Yeah, it's a Switch, but it's super.
Yeah, like they do with
it's
DSs.
Like or the Nintendo, like the NES.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you have the Nintendo Entertainment System, and then like, all right, here's the next one. What are we gonna call it? The Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And that's what you got to do.
The Switch U. That's what.
Oh my God!
Could
you imagine? Could you imagine? Terrible. What a failure of a console the Wii U was. Real quick, I want to get your take on this because Ty and I have argued for the past 2 weeks on his show. Would you consider Nintendo a competitor to Xbox and PlayStation?
I mean, technically yes, but Nintendo's always been a lot cheaper, and they do their own thing, and Nintendo always feels like the company where no matter what, you have a Nintendo console. No matter which side of the console wars that I'm using hand quotes, but like you have an Xbox and a Switch, or you have a PlayStation 5 and a Switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's difficult because they kind of do their own thing, and people get Switches anyway.
Forrest says, come back and see us next month to sue Palworld live from court.
He's not wrong.
He's really not. But you would say that in generally speaking, they are
technically yes, they are. Yeah,
okay.
They are competitors.
Okay.
Yes.
Ty and I went back and forth, and like he doesn't.
What do you say?
I think they are competitors. At the end of the day, like, and I use my own gaming habits as an example. Like last year when Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out, guess what I wasn't doing?
No, you're right.
Playing my Xbox or
you're
my
right.
PlayStation.
You're right.
Like, and I said, Ty, say you walk into a store, right? You walk into a game store, you have $60 to spend, or 70. Let's say whatever. You have enough for one video game, and you walk in there and you want to buy Starfield, and you're gonna buy Starfield. You're so excited to buy Starfield. You're walking in, and then you turn your head, and you see The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom there. And like you like at that point you have a decision, right? It's like, oh man, I really want both games, but I can only afford one. I've budgeted out for my video game spending enough for one video game.
Yeah.
You can't walk out with both games. Like the two are competing to be purchased.
Yeah.
They're competition. Like you could say that they're trying to appeal to different portions of the audience, but at the end of the day, like they are in the same industry, doing the same business. They are competition.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Thank you. It's a rare moment where like
sorry,
you and
Ty.
I agree.
I think I have to. Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Ty was like, "Well, there's no difference," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then he caught him. I caught him in his own in like messing up his own thought process because he's like, "Oh, the Super Switch is going to be." Ty's going to say I'm misquoting him. I don't misquote people. No, I really don't.
This part I don't believe already.
No. He really said this. And Ty, you have to be truthful. He really said this. He said,
you misheard me just 30 minutes ago, but you misquoted me.
He said. He's like, well, the Super Switch is going to be more powerful, so that way third-party developers get more on board with bringing their games
which is true.
to Super Switch, so they don't lose out
but that makes
on sales
makes it more
to
of a
Xbox and PlayStation. And that was my point.
Yeah.
I was like, Ty, you just proved me right once again. Nintendo is actively competing. Ty says, Dev, if Sony bought EA, CD Projekt Red, Ubisoft, Take-Two, Sega, Square Enix, would Xbox be in trouble? Yes. Would Nintendo be in trouble? I mean, yeah, they would lose a lot of that support. from their third parties. I get his point.
I do get his point.
But it doesn't again, like,
because
it doesn't mean anything.
Because I do think Nintendo makes their money from their own first party games. You know what I mean? Like you don't get a Nintendo console for third party games.
No, you don't.
That
but
being
they're still
said,
competing. They're still competing.
That being said, with your analogy, like you walk into a store and you have $60 or $70 or whatever.
Yeah, you're walking out with either a Nintendo game, an Xbox game, or a PlayStation game. There's like that Nintendo game could stop you from buying that Xbox game or that PlayStation game.
It'd be easier to answer. I feel like if Nintendo wasn't killing it, they just last year they've killed it. The year before they've killed it. Like Nintendo's just been.
None of those games are on Switch.
Yeah, I know, but
Dev, it's okay to agree with me.
No, it's.
He's like, I'm really trying to do some mental gymnastics and not agree. I
do agree with you. It's just I see the points that he's making.
I do too, but like, I think that again, I think their priorities are different. I think Nintendo's priorities are different from those of PlayStation and Xbox, but that doesn't mean that they're not competing directly.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
The fact that they're so close in the running, like we can talk about them this way, and they don't even have third party games. I think that speaks a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about this. Actually, came out like an hour or so before we went live. It happened today. Sony's CEO said that PlayStation's gaming future will be on console, PC, mobile, and cloud. As the leading console maker in the world, Sony is in a special spot with the PS5 and its business. The console sales have continued to rise since its 2020 release, and the PlayStation division has been working towards keeping its hold on top of the gaming industry. What the future holds, however, is anyone's guess, including Kenichiro Yoshida. In an interview with Norges Bank Investment Management, the Sony CEO talked about where he sees the future of gaming for PlayStation, going in both the short and near term. It will be ubiquitous, Yoshida said. Wherever there is computing, users will be able to play their favorite games seamlessly. While PlayStation will remain our core product, we will expand our gaming experiences to PC, mobile, and cloud. Speaking of the cloud and non-traditional gaming, Yoshida was asked about the movement towards subscription services for gaming. It's something that, while he sees value in, doesn't believe it's a catch-all solution for gamers. People usually play one game at a time, he said. So all-you-can-eat type of many games may not be so valuable compared with video streaming services. So we'll kind of have a balanced or hybrid service on PlayStation Network, a subscription as well as pay-per content. Lastly, Yoshida was asked specifically about recent Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard and how it will impact the direction of PlayStation. Without really giving much away, Yoshida said that the Sony will continue to work to give PlayStation members the ability to play the best games with the best options. Healthy competition is necessary for the game industry to grow, and at Sony, we believe it is important to provide gamers with different options to play, he said. So we'll continue our efforts to achieve this. So
I kind of liked it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of funny in a way because it really is PlayStation kind of pivoting a little bit to follow what Xbox is kind of doing, a model that they have said is not sustainable.
So I was against what he said until he said we're going to find a hybrid version of that, and I think that probably works for Sony and PlayStation. I think they tried already with the subscription service, and it just didn't.
But I think
it didn't stick.
Well, so Ty and I talked about this as well, in a sense that I don't think PlayStation committed to the subscription service enough for it to succeed. I don't think they gave it the attention it needed, and so it floundered.
I think it's definitely a money thing. Maybe they didn't put in enough money. They don't have the bank account. They don't have the pockets that Microsoft
Cora
has.
says, I swear to God, every time I can't escape this damn topic.
Yeah.
Really? Is this really a topic?
The acquisition.
Oh, the acquisition. Yeah. I'm tired of this. That's too damn bad. You keep digging for us.
So yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's PlayStation has to do their own thing. They can't copy Microsoft exactly, but they're going to do their own version of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think. See, where I disagree with you is I think Xbox is doing a hybrid where they have Game Pass, but then
the thing is though they have deeper pockets.
You can still go buy a la carte games. Like you don't have to subscribe to Game Pass. I think that you could be in the Xbox ecosystem and enjoy that ecosystem without Game Pass. Like, I don't think you need Game Pass to be on Xbox.
No.
But so that's what I'm saying. So like, I think Xbox is kind of already doing this model of hybrid.
I mean, you don't. We've seen it with PlayStation. You don't need their stuff, their subscription service to enjoy PlayStation.
Oh, not at all. In fact, I would recommend not spending the money on PlayStation Plus. I don't think it's a good service.
So I think they think that too. That's why they need to pivot. They're going to find a hybrid form.
So I do think it's interesting. I mean, this is a pivot for them. They've kind of historically, kind of been like, Xbox is not right in doing this. Where for them, it's going to be not just their console, but it's going to be PC, cloud, mobile. Like, they're going to put their games out on these systems. Do you think that PlayStation, we see a day where PlayStation puts their first party releases day and date on PC like Xbox does?
Yeah, maybe.
I think so.
I think eventually.
I think it's sooner than we think. I think like within the next year or two you could see it maybe.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
It is a lot harder to go from a console made game to PC. We've seen it time and time again where there's always issues with that.
Ty says they can't copy Microsoft exactly because their main revenue has always been pay to play. Xbox is coming from third place, so it's easier for them to adapt. I mean,
I can see that too, yeah.
Yes and no. I think PlayStation could follow Xbox's... I mean, like, here's the thing. If you look at PlayStation, if you're PlayStation, you should feel that you have the best software in gaming. So, I mean, like, I think any business model, as long as you do it well or do it correctly or, like, stay involved and invested in it, I think you could do it.
But I think that's why they have the better software, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's just an opinion.
People are going to pay money for that game. They're not going to go for the subscription service. They're going to pay that $60, $70 for that game. And PlayStation knows that. I think the subscription service will just be more money in the bank for them, and I think they're trying to figure out a way where, how do we get people to buy this game full price and have a subscription service?
Well, I think that it's an interesting conversation to be had because we know from the Insomniac leaks that, Spider-Man 2 had this crazy big budget, and, we're sitting here asking if that PlayStation model is sustainable in its own right. Like,
I agree.
Like, we're asking, can we afford to make games like this and sell games like this?
Yeah.
So it's like, at that point, like, okay, well, if that model is clearly starting to become an issue, like...
I don't have the exact quotes, but it was interesting to read why Baldur's Gate will never be on a streaming service. And they laid out their reasons, and it just felt like, a lot of developers are still going to benefit from charging full price for a game.
I think that both... So, and Ty and I talked about this as well, where it's kind of like, why not both? Like, I think it's really weird to see Larian kind of take such a hard stance against it. Like, I think it works for every developer is different.
That's what I mean.
And I think that it was really weird to see Larian kind of just be like, it's not good, and just be very shoot it down. Like,
they just said it wasn't for them. They said our games will never be on there because we put a lot of work into them. We don't want it to be on a subscription service. I think I get that. Yeah. It's like a big budget movie going directly to Netflix. There's something about it where, no, we want our movie in theaters. And I think that's kind of the Larian aspect of it. You know what I mean?
I mean, sure. I get it. All right. Any more thoughts on this? Okay. Next up in the headlines, Nintendo is reportedly considering outsourcing its IP to more external studios. According to GamesIndustry.biz journalist Chris Dring, who claims the company is looking to find new partners for its next console, quote, I know Nintendo is actively meeting with independent developers to find new partners, wrote Dring. Some of that is around publishing indie games, which Nintendo does from time to time, but it's also seeking studios that could work on some of its IP. Nintendo regularly works with third-party teams, including Bandai Namco, Team Ninja, Platinum, Mercury Steam, WayForward, and Grezzo. Hello, Tiger. Tiger, what are your thoughts about Nintendo using they're outsourcing their IP?
I agree.
It's great.
I don't believe it either.
Great takes.
I need to see it to believe it. That's such an un-Nintendo thing to do.
I mean, not really. Retro Studios made the Metroid Prime games.
Yeah, but okay, yeah. I don't know.
They're not owned. Baldur's Gate developer is talking trash, fear mongering for no reason. What a weirdo. Ty says no, they didn't say that. Dev. They said subscription will lead to lower quality games. They did say that.
But I think it could. Like I said, the comparison with like Netflix. Are there any Netflix movies that you can think of that are like box office hits or like comparative to like I would have saw that in the theater if I saw that movie. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just there is something about going to a movie and watching a movie that's there than a Netflix movie or an Amazon Prime movie or whatever, you know, a subscription-based movie, I should say. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if you know your worth and if you feel that's your worth, then go for it.
Oh, easy there, Rocky Balboa. No, I mean I agree that with Ty. I think that it was kind of a weird stance for them to take, where it was just very openly negative to the concept of a subscription service, and it's just like, if you don't think your product should go through the subscription service, that's your right, and I do that, like sell your game how you want to sell your game. But I just thought it was really weirdly like anti-gaming almost, to just be like, this is a terrible idea, this is not going to work. And it's like, I don't know, I mean Microsoft is still continuing to make it work, so I do wish Xbox would be a little bit more forthcoming with the numbers, be like, because they keep saying it's profitable, and like I do believe them if they keep telling me, and like this is like going on for years now, where like they like if they're losing money on Game Pass, like they got to be tanking a lot of money into this. I just don't think they are. So I think especially with these acquisitions you bring in, Minecraft and Call of Duty, like that, those are going to generate enough revenue where you could probably continue to eat some cost on Game Pass in general and bring in more customers. I don't know, but I did think it was kind of terrible what they said. Larian said. Ty says Stranger Things, The Irishman, The Boys, House of Dragons, Arcane, The Last of Us TV show, Invisibles, Edge Runners, Expanse.
All right.
I think he's just trying to make a point about shows going to the streaming
stuff. Yeah,
it seems like I can keep going. Ty, speak, King, speak.
I don't know. I just
talk
think,
your truth.
I don't know what Larian said exactly, but
yeah, no, he basically said that they were like subscription services are going to lead to lower quality games, and we should not be a part of subscription services.
Okay. Like
the games industry should not partake in them.
I can see the argument there, but I guess
Xbox continues to make it work, so I don't know. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yeah, Nintendo. You said this was crazy, but it's not. I mean, it's really not when you think about it. I mean, again, Retro Studios has made Metroid Prime. They made the Donkey Kong Country Returns games. Like this article said, they've worked with Bandai Namco to make Smash Brothers Wii U. Team Ninja's made a Metroid game. Platinum Games made. Bayonetta's not really first party, but Mercury Steam is not owned by Nintendo. They've made the Metroid 3DS games and Metroid Dread. Way Forward has worked on stuff. Grezzo has remade the Zelda games. These are all developers that aren't owned by Nintendo.
Okay.
So it's not as crazy as you think.
All right.
But it's not like the next 3D Mario game is going to be made by someone else.
No.
But, like Metroid or Star Fox. God, somebody please make a Star Fox game. Somebody that's not Nintendo, please make a Star Fox game. I don't care what you say. Like, don't just accept what Nintendo gives you.
Oh no! If a game flops,
the Star Fox games have been terrible.
That's
for
what I'm
20
saying.
years.
If a game flops, you're allowed to raise your pitchforks.
Bring me back Star Fox. Bring it back. Bring it back and make what like Star Fox is supposed to be. They were so close on the GameCube. They did Assault. Half of that game.
Half
Chef's
of it was
kiss.
great.
Oh yeah, half of it. The on foot stuff's not good, but when you're in an R-wing, it's amazing. Also, though, I don't think Star Fox Assault was made by Nintendo.
No, there you go.
Hold on, wait. I'm actually gonna look this up real quick. Star Fox Assault developer. I don't want DeviantArt. Nope. Don't want to go there for the furry stuff. No, thanks. It was made by Bandai Namco.
Okay.
It was made by Namco.
Then half of it was great.
Half of it was great because it like
the Bandai half.
Yeah,
not the Nintendo half.
Yeah, right. Forrest says next Pokemon made by AI Studio. All right, let's move on. We finally got an update on Stalker 2 dev last week. Stalker 2 has technically been delayed out of first quarter 2024, but the game will be arriving exclusively for Xbox and PC and Game Pass day one. Thank you, Ty. You said Namco. on September 5th, 2024.
Okay, so there's the date.
It's another great game coming to Xbox. It really just helps Xbox's huge year they're going to have here. Like, I think Xbox was anticipating this game coming out in quarter 1, which is why there is no other game coming quarter 1, because obviously Microsoft said they have the vision of the 1 a quarter game.
Yeah.
And if you look at their lineup, like, they actually don't have anything January, February, March. I do wonder if Stalker 2 was supposed to be that game.
Makes sense.
But obviously with the world
I hope they advertise
what they're
this
dealing
game.
with.
Yeah, I really hope Xbox advertises this game, and I hope this game gets the views it's supposed to get.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing this. But just wanted to kind of share that news about the release date.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we have to unfortunately talk about every single week. Layoffs. So we actually, when I was making the script, we had 2 layoffs that were worth mentioning here. Actually 3. Now we're up to 4. Minutes before we went live. Minutes.
Yeah, I heard you reading it.
Yeah, so let's get into what's in the script first. So over the past few weeks, Unity laid off 1,800 employees, 25% of their workforce. Twitch laid off 500 employees, 35% of their workforce. Lost Boys Interactive, co-developer on Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, subsidiary of Gearbox, also owned by Embracer, laid off around 400 people. And then, right before we went live, minutes, Riot Games has announced that they've laid off 530 people, and they're also ending Riot Forge. Riot Games, the developer behind League of Legends, is set to lay off 530 employees, or just about 11% of its entire staff. The company confirmed the news on Monday night. Quote, "Today I'm sharing a decision we hoped we would have never have to make at Riot," CEO Dylan Jadeja said. "I realize this is awful news to hear, and especially hard for those who will be leaving us. To all the rioters who are being laid off, we are deeply sorry that it has come to this." The layoff comes as Jadeja admits that the company had made some bad bets during a period of rapid growth in 2019. Because of those self-titled bad bets, decisions on the future of the company had to be made, which ended up including layoffs. Quote, "Today, we're a company without a sharp enough focus, and simply put, we have too many things underway. Some of the significant investments we've made aren't paying off the way we expected them to. Our costs have grown to the point where they're unsustainable, and we've left ourselves with no room for experimentation or failure, which is vital to a creative company like ours. All of this puts the core of our business at risk. Over the past several months, we've tried to alter our trajectory in many different ways. We asked leaders to make trade-offs in the things their teams are working on. We rolled out hiring slowdowns, and in some cases, hiring freezes. We put an emphasis on controlling costs while strengthening our revenue growth. All of which has without a doubt been tough for our teams. But as I've dug in with leaders across Riot, it's become clear to all of us that these changes aren't enough. We have to do more to focus our business and center our efforts on the things that drive the most player value, the things that are truly worth players' times. In addition to the layoffs, the studio is shutting down its Riot Forge label. The Riot Forge label was launched as a publisher within the company that handled the release of third-party games that licensed the League of Legends IP. Games published under the label include Ruined King, Song of Nunu, and the upcoming Bandle Tale. While we're proud of what we've created in this space, and we're grateful for the Forge team and for our external partners who made these games happen, we don't view this as core to our strategy moving forward, Jadeja said. As far as the other games in the Riot Games catalog, Jadeja says work on League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, Valorant, and Wild Rift will be as committed as ever. Legends of Runeterra is seeing its team downsize due to low financial performance of the game. Real just terrible news, just more layoffs. The Riot Games one, I mean, I don't want to say give them credit for at least kind of walking through and explaining, like, out of all the layoffs we've seen, it definitely seems like Riot Games, at least the way they're describing it, did like what they could to avoid it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, just
I mean, we've talked about this a lot over the last, 10 episodes.
Last year.
It's going to keep happening because they're just, I don't know.
Well, I mean, here's a little bit of news that I also kept in the script. So it was a tough year for game developers in 2023, but it may not get better, as we've seen. In a report published by GamesIndustry.biz, it has been revealed that senior stakeholders in the industry are bracing for an even tougher year in 2024 and beyond, with one CEO stressing that they're holding firm for up to 2 years of pain. So the executives in the games industry are looking at this as something that's going to be ongoing for up to the next 2 years.
Damn. Yeah.
Terrible. I mean, we're going to keep reporting on the numbers, but it's just crazy. 1,800 from Unity, 500 from Twitch, 400 from Lost Boys Interactive, and then this number from Riot, which was, what was the number again? 530. That's over 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Almost 3,000 people. It's just in a matter of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tough. It's real tough. Well, next up in the news headlines, something to cheer us up is an Assassin's Creed 4 remake in development. Now, Deborah, is that the best Assassin's Creed game in your opinion?
I don't know about best, but it's definitely my favorite.
Your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. Last year, Insider Gaming reported exclusively that there was a list of Assassin's Creed titles in development or planned at Ubisoft. At the time, the report did mention a Black Flag remake had recently been greenlit. Now, thanks to a reference that has surfaced on a LinkedIn profile, it seems that the development of the Black Flag remake kicked off just 2 months later in September of 2023. In a report published a month before the list was written up last year, news surfaced that Ubisoft Singapore would be working on the recreation of one of the most popular Assassin's Creed games ever, Black Flag. It sounds like they're just trying to get their money's worth with Singapore, since they're about to put out your game of the year, Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones. Ooh, here it comes.
I can't wait. You're going to be the only one there day one. Let's go, guys. Pirate life for me.
Yeah.
There's no way that game's good. I'm sorry.
We'll see.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't think it will be good. But yeah, apparently the Assassin's Creed 4 remake is in development there. So I also agree. I think it's one of the best ones in the series. So I definitely would be interested in.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know if it's a full remake or if it's an up-res.
If it's an up-res thing, I don't really care. If it's a full remake, yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it either way, actually.
Okay. I would rather them just do an upscaling. That's something that interests me. I would love to play it, 4K, HDR, etc., etc. Next up in the headlines, 343 says Halo Infinite is done with seasons as it shifts its approach. Instead, the studio, instead of doing seasons, will be starting an operations model starting on January 30th, in which it will offer 20 tiers of free unlockable rewards every 4 to 6 weeks. Halo's Infinite's next free update, Operation Spirit of Fire, will add new customization options, a new map, Forge editions, and more on January 30th. The move away from larger, long-running seasons represents a significant change for Infinite. Speaking during a live stream on Friday's 343 Senior Community Manager John Junzek emphasized that the company would continue to support Infinite in 2024. However, he confirmed the studio is also working on new projects alongside the shooter. We're making a shift in how we're approaching Infinite going forward, he said. For Master Chief Collection players, this is probably going to sound very familiar. The gist of it is, we're no longer referring to seasons. We're shifting away from seasons. He later added, for us here at the studio, it's going to be an exciting year for Halo. We have a dedicated team working on supporting Infinite and continuing to deliver forward. But also, yes, we have additional teams that are accelerating towards the future, working on brand new projects. There are a lot of things cooking here. Ty said the Division and Watch Dogs too much flack for quality publisher. Oh, did he say something else that I missed in the chat for Ty?
I can come up from it.
I feel like it must have been like a 2-parter. I missed it. I don't know. It's fine.
But no, I think this sounds like it's good news. I mean,
it sounds like they're moving on to the next Halo game.
It does sound like that, but it does sound like they're going to stick with this game for another year at least, and they're going to keep updating it. They're just not going to do seasons anymore, which, they're just going to push out content. Even though Season 5 was really big for
honestly, I think just doing content drops is a great model. I mean, when you have something ready to put into your game, add it to your game. That's just me. I don't know. Next up, years, Devereaux. Let me tell you, years in the making this next story. A Lego Legend of Zelda Great Deku Tree is rumored to be released this year. According to Brickmerge and 1414 Falcon Fan, 2 Lego social media accounts that have a long history of revealing upcoming Lego sets long before they've been officially confirmed. A work in progress image of the Great Deku Tree Lego set from an internal document was posted last year. This document, intended only for specific retail partners to judge their interest in potential upcoming sets, suggested that the set would come with Link, Zelda, and a large display stand for the tree. According to Brickmerge, the set will come with 2,500 pieces and will be released in September of this year. This set is based on the concept that was previously shown. It would also likely be the first Lego Nintendo set to feature traditional minifigures. Cool. Previous Lego Mario sets have used a bespoken electronic figure that reacted to special Lego pieces, while the upcoming Animal Crossing Lego set will also feature figures with bespoken sculptured heads. Real quick on the Halo stuff, Ty says, in the same way the Halo TV show has new writers and a new showrunner, Halo Infinite really needs that. It needs to be a proper game. Halo Infinite single player sucked. I wouldn't say sucked.
I think the biggest issue, and we talked about it, is they didn't have developers for the Infinity or the Slip. Yeah. What is it? What is their engine?
Slip
Space. Yeah. They didn't have developers for the Slip Space engine, so nobody could actually work on the game. They had to learn the engine and then work on the game, and that just took way too long.
Right.
So them switching over to Unreal, I think I think it opens up a lot more for them. They can focus on more of the creative stuff.
Right. So this is really big news, Zelda.
I don't believe it.
You don't believe it?
I gotta see it. I gotta see it.
See, I'm
Nintendo putting out Lego sets in general is already like.
Well, I mean, they've done Mario.
Yeah, they've done Mario and they did Animal Crossing.
Would it be so crazy?
No, it wouldn't be crazy at all.
No.
A lot of the things Nintendo should do wouldn't be crazy at all.
You're right. That's fair. I think
Zelda's like their baby.
Because I don't know if I've never bought I was never a Legos kid.
If you buy it, I want to put it together.
Yeah, then I'm gonna buy it then.
Yeah, if you buy it, I want to put it together. Not only like
no,
I'm not even saying like I will put it together. I want to put it together.
Well, we'll both put it together. Yeah. Together. We'll sit here at this table. We'll do it live. That'll be a fun live stream. You building it, me like, I think this goes here. You're just like, no.
Because I never want to own the Legos after I put it together. After I put it together, I don't want them anymore.
Well, no, because I'd put it right there on that table.
Yeah, exactly. I'll put it together. You keep it.
If it's like, well, again, I gotta see what it looks like. Like if it looks like this Deku Tree, I want it. If it's like Breath of the Wild Deku Tree, I'll pass on it. I'm not saying that just because of Breath of the Wild. This is just a very iconic.
No, I agree with you.
Looking Deku Tree. This is what I want the Deku Tree to look like.
I agree with you.
So
them having minifigures, I think, is really cool. Going back to that.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And let's see. Are we on our last? Yes, our last headline for the day. This was something interesting I wanted to share with you and get your thoughts on it. So Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth launches this week. It's one of the games that we're going to talk about in our game releases for the week. It has a New Game Plus mode, but you can only access the New Game Plus mode if you get the deluxe or ultimate editions of the game. Sega is raising some eyebrows with its decision to essentially paywall the New Game Plus feature in Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth. Spotted by PC Gamer, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth's official website details the differences between each version of the game. In total, there are 4 versions. 3 digital and 1 physical. As you can see in a screenshot that's on this article, which you cannot see, just take my word for it, the standard edition includes the base game and nothing additional. But what's caught some attention is how New Game Plus mode is mentioned as a perk if you decide to buy the deluxe or ultimate edition digitally. Additionally, Redditor Megas O'Mark posted a month ago that they contacted Sega's support team to clarify the situation. Sega's support team confirmed New Game Plus is indeed only available with the Master Vacation Pack.
Yeah, I don't like that. That sounds gross.
It's very gross.
Yeah.
They're really, really terrible. Very disappointing that they're doing this. So yeah, just wanted to share that. It's gross. It's very gross. Not much more to talk about other than that.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll affect our pick of the week for game releases. Speaking of which, let's get ready to close out the show with our game releases for the week of January 22nd. Obviously, it's still January, but as far as January goes, it's not a bad week. 2 major releases coming out this week. But let's just get through all of it. Graven comes to PC tomorrow on January 23rd. Howl comes out on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles on January 23rd. Immortality, which was a hit on Game Pass last year, Xbox exclusive, makes its way to PlayStation 5 tomorrow as well on the 23rd. Apollo Justice, the Ace Attorney trilogy, comes out on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, PC on January 25th. Hidden Through Time 2, Myths and Magic, comes out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Switch on the 25th. Hitman Blood Money Reprisal comes out on Switch January 25th. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth launches on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on January 26th. And Tekken 8 launches on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on January 26th. Dev, what is your pick for the week?
Ace Attorney trilogy. It's one of those games that I've always wanted to get into, and having it all in one and like on the newer consoles just easily that makes it one of the games I want to play. So
okay, so for me, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was going to be, and then the New Game Plus thing is gross. So it is. I'm taking the award out of its hands.
Okay,
it's not winning the award.
What's getting it?
So for me, I was kind of torn between Ace Attorney and Tekken. Since you're going Ace Attorney, I'm going to go Tekken 8.
Okay.
I always have great memories playing Tekken in high school. Everyone would bring their PSPs in advisory in high school, and we would like sit around and play it.
You don't like fighting games, so that's surprising to me.
I always enjoyed playing Tekken though with the guys.
Okay.
Playing Tekken with the boys, you know what I mean? Always enjoyed it. No, I'm terrible at fighting games. Outside of Smash Brothers, which I do consider it a fighting game.
I think so.
Yeah, no, I'm not good at it, but I think Tekken 8 looks really good. I love the art style. The trailer looks really good, or the trailers I've seen look really good. So yeah, I mean, Like a Dragon fumbled it, so I'm gonna pick it up and I'm gonna give it to Tekken 8.
Okay.
All right. So that's gonna pretty much do it for us here tonight. I think this was a great show. I mean, obviously, Palworld's gonna continue to take the world by storm. I'm sure we will definitely be talking about lawsuits in the coming weeks from Pokemon Company.
More lawsuits.
More courtroom. We're gonna turn into a legal podcast, a legal gaming podcast.
Oh, that sounds thrilling.
The legal room, the courtroom podcast.
Do you think they're guilty?
Everyone's guilty. Guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah.
Forrest will be forced to sit in the courtroom. Like he's the juror. He's not allowed to go. He's legally binded to be in the courtroom.
Every episode he's condemned.
Yeah, he's like tied to a chair.
Yeah.
It's like, get me out of here. Just like the eagle.
We're gonna hold you in contempt of court if you keep that up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so yeah, it was a great show. Palworld's huge. Xbox Developer Direct's awesome, and Sony's changing the way they do business. So exciting week, and hopefully next week will be just as exciting. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight in the Game Room podcast. This has been episode 51. Please go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. If you're not watching live and you're watching this maybe tomorrow or later tonight or whatever, let us know. Have you played Palworld yet? Are you enjoying Palworld? Or what did you think about the Xbox Developer Direct? Are you excited for Indiana Jones? What's your most anticipated game? Let us know. I'm hoping by next week to kind of have like a Discord set up. I really want to kind of like, just for the simplicity, like the Broken Tables one is very wrestling heavy, so I'm even the Game Room's like tab there, like I want to kind of flesh it out more. So I'm hoping sometime this week to have a Discord. Hopefully by next week's episode, we'll have it set up where it'll be in the description. You guys can come and hang out with us, chat with us, talk games, movies, TV, whatever. But yeah, until then, we will see you guys next week.
See ya.
All right, so this is going to do the cutout thing again?
Yeah, it's the part of the show where
all right, yeah, so I'm just... Deborah, there's something I need to tell you.